President Bukele to help return the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported. The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, two courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country.
Welcome back to our channel. You're here with your host, the Conservative Bird, and his co-host, me, Double D, and you're on the Brick Road Podcast.
Welcome back, everybody. We really appreciate you stopping by. And before we get into it, I would just like to say, if you could, please make sure to hit that like, hit that share, hit that subscribe, and smash the notification for us. It's really the biggest way and the free way to help us get our channel to reach a broad algorithm as possible. So if you could just do that really quick, it'd really help us out. Today we got a good one, actually. We're going to break down a little bit about the tariffs, but we're going to break it down from the perspective of some of the Chinese media and some of the things that the liberal media does not want to tell you. So, right here we have China doubles down its tariff stance. Let's check this out.
Roll that clip, Bird.
To look at China when it comes to tariffs, let's get to Eunice Yoon in Beijing. A lot going on, Eunice, regarding rare earths, visit to Vietnam, and more. Good morning.
Yeah, there's a lot going on here. You guys were talking about those tariff exemptions. The Chinese government, on the whole, over the weekend, had acknowledged that the tariff exemptions were what they described as a small step, and even said that China was evaluating the impact. The state media, though, had said that this was a U.S. retreat, and also more evidence that the Chinese supply chain is really, really important for the world. Today, though, probably because of a lot of the confusion out of the messaging from the White House, the Chinese government doubled down on their overall stance. That is, that the U.S. government should abolish the tariffs and the what they describe as wrongful actions around those tariffs.
Well, why don't you guys abolish your tariffs on us then? Why is it only us that has to abolish the tariffs? Why doesn't this just get to go both ways? This is what's wrong. These people want to have a false partnership and act like we're allies or something. No, it's not. You get over on us forever and sell us cheap and terrible products while we are your number one consumer and you decide to tariff us the most. That's not how this works. And we get our backs broken over it. No, it's not happening no more.
No, I absolutely agree, Bird. You know what it seems to me? It seems as though even while they're tariffing us and they're complaining about us doing the tariffs in return, if they really want free trade, drop the tariffs. Then we'll drop ours, and then we'll actually have a real free trade. Because I don't know, it's weird. Like the North American Free Trade Agreement says free trade right in it. But the only ones that had it free was Canada and Mexico.
Right.
And China.
Right. Where's our free trade?
So, like, if they really want free trade, an open free trade market means nobody pays tariffs on either side, or everybody pays the same amount of tariffs on either side.
Exactly.
But that's technically not free if that's the case, then. That's tariffs.
Right.
So, it's not rocket science. These people way complicated it. You know why? Because China's losing a lot of money right now.
Well, they don't want to tell you that. That's what that is.
What was also interesting is that a state TV-linked social media account, which is now closely watched for messaging on U.S.-China trade, just several hours ago elaborated a little bit further, saying that to the Trump team, their what they call delusion is China will compromise under high tariffs. The account goes on saying, if the U.S. really wants to talk, China needs to see real action. What was also interesting is that the same blogger account was hinting at who would be what kind of step would be taken next. And the target, they said, was American IP and American brands. And then this blogger went on to suggest that Chinese people could reject them. And they said that they noted that Walt Disney and Comcast, which owns CNBC, have development and production businesses, theme parks, and consumer goods in China. They also mentioned Sony, Paramount Global, as well as Netflix. The messaging, though,
I don't see anything I could really care less about.
I know. Why does it matter that Disney, Comcast, Paramount, Netflix, and Sony have offices over there?
Right.
They own a ton of acreage of farming land over here in America that they use for growing products or whatever they want to do with it.
Right.
They own a bunch of our real estate. So, you know what? We need to take that real estate back.
We
You
really
wanna hurt
do.
China? Let's take what they own here.
Yeah,
If that's how
definitely.
they want to play. Let's play hardball with these guys because we can make everything and better than they ever can. And I'll be honest, I'd rather pay for quality. Like I was saying earlier, I got a Japanese Sony VCR in my attic that still plays and still records today.
Oh,
I
I
don't
bet.
have anything made in China that does that 30 years later.
Most of the products I get from China, they're broke within the first 6 months.
6 months to a year at best. Even the clothing, dude. The clothing doesn't. I mean, a pair of tennis shoes from there, you'll pay $185 for a pair of Jordans. If you wear them every day, they're going to last 3 to 4 months.
Right, exactly. So, we got South China. It's their morning post here, and they think that they're the know-it-all with Trump's tariffs. And we're going to show you guys what they're telling people over there. And then afterwards, we're going to show you a video of what's actually going on over there. So let's check this out really quick.
Why an idiot's guide? Because as painfully obvious as it is, some people just don't get it or refuse to.
Idiot.
Let's start with US President Donald Trump addressing the World Economic Forum in Davos.
My message to every business in the world is very simple. Come make your product in America, and we will give you among the lowest taxes of any nation on earth. We're bringing them down very substantially, even from the original Trump tax cuts. But if you don't make your product in America, which is your prerogative, then very simply you will have to pay a tariff, differing amounts, but a tariff which will direct hundreds of billions of dollars and even trillions of dollars into our treasury.
While Trump brandishes the...
What's wrong with anything he just said right there? What is wrong?
The only thing that's wrong with it from the Chinese perspective is they're going to have to pay it.
Yeah, or they're going to lose money.
And then they're going to lose on all those American products that they like too, like Coca-Cola,
Yeah.
bourbon,
Like, all right, we can play this game just like you guys can play this game.
beer. Let's be honest. They don't make good whiskey in China. Have you ever heard any whiskey coming out of China that's worth drinking? Because I haven't.
Not one bit.
And I'm not really much of a drinker, but I do love bourbon. And I can tell you this, class grade A bourbon comes from America, and it comes from right here in Kentucky and Ohio and Tennessee. And you know what? China, they don't got that. I mean, you know what? They can make their own maker's mark.
Yeah, I don't understand where they get this perspective of it from. I guess it's just from a bitter perspective of why
they can bully us.
Yeah, and that's honestly what it is they think that they also think they're better than us. But what they don't realize is when you send nothing but shitty quality products to a country and that's your number one consumer, doesn't make you better than anything. That just actually makes us a little bit dumb for keep buying it off of them.
Absolutely. And you know what? China thinks they can punk us out because they've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah.
That's all this is. This is a punk out contest. And Donald Trump's punking them.
Yeah, and they know it. They know it's coming.
The threat of tariffs like a bull with a bazooka in a China shop, nobody dares correct him on how they actually work. No, he will not be raking it in from the countries he slaps his tariffs on. That's just not how it works.
No, what it is, it's meant to level the playing field a little more.
Well, and not only that, but it does work that way because honestly, they're going to just force other companies to come back to America. We might have a hard time for a year or two, but it will not take us that long to reestablish our manufacturing. We've got empty warehouses all over this country just dying to run a tool and die shop, just dying to make another pair of tennis shoes.
Exactly.
I hear the ghost of manufacturing, America's manufacturing past, saying, bring it on home, Donald, bring it on home.
Yep.
School children should know this.
Screw China.
Let alone the ruler of the most powerful empire in human history. I suppose it's up to the child now to point out the emperor's nudity. Let's break it down in the simplest possible terms, taking tariffs aimed at China as the example. Americans depend heavily on all kinds of products from China.
No, we don't.
Smartphones, digital automation systems, toys, media transmission systems, lithium batteries, display monitors, computer parts, and plastic goods, to name but a few.
Stop there for a second.
A lot of those things can be made in the United States.
Every one of those things that he named, every single product that they make that he just named, all those goods and materials and raw materials come from the United
us.
States.
Yeah, they come from us.
Yeah.
And they put it together. We can just do it ourselves.
Who does this guy think he is?
We'll just do it ourselves. What it is they were using cheap labor over there.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah,
it's using cheap labor. You know what? Maybe we'll let some of the immigrants come back. Maybe even from China. We'll let them work in sweatshops here in America instead. China. We'll let them China. We'll let them work in sweatshops in San Francisco or something.
Maybe we'll give them a little more money too.
They can hide them in the subway tunnel. Let them sew shirts together. I'm just
Any
saying.
tariffs on these Chinese goods will be paid by the American companies importing them, not the Chinese companies sending them across. None of the Chinese exporters shipping these staples out of their country will pay a red cent more. It's the American importers who will pay the tariffs for the goods at the port of entry, and they will pass on the cost to American retailers, who in turn will have to raise prices for American consumers. So yes, Trump may well earn some revenue for the Treasury from his tariffs, but effectively by taxing Americans. Ultimately shutting Chinese companies out by slapping tariffs on their goods that U.S. importers can't afford will require other trade partners to fill the void. But replacing China as the source will be no piece of cake, especially when Trump is threatening everyone else and their mums with similar tariffs. Of course.
No, unfortunately, that's where you're wrong, buddy. We are offering you guys the most tariffs out of anybody. This guy is absolutely lying.
You know what he's forgetting, too? That Vietnam, South Korea, Indonesia, Pakistan, New Guinea, New Zealand, all of those countries are willing right now to go zero tariffs on us if we're willing to go zero tariffs for them.
Yep.
We don't need China to make those products.
Nope.
You know what? Vietnam has sweatshops too, and so does Pakistan, so does India, so does Korea, so does South Korea. Who does China think they are? I'm telling you, they're trying to call the great Donald Trump's bluff, and I think they're not holding the hand. We're holding the hand, not China.
They think they are. They don't know the art of the deal.
They definitely don't, because if they did, they would know that everybody wins in the art of the deal. And right now, America's losing to these people because they are greedy and they've been taking advantage, and they've been lucky to be able to have politicians on their payroll. And because of that, they have been able to successfully buy our American leaders. Donald Trump can't be bought, China. Sorry.
Nope.
Of course, China will be hurt as well, which is America's desired intention.
That's not our desired intention. That is not true at all. Our desired intention is for us to stop being taken advantage of so much. That is our desired intention. This guy is a liar. Right.
So it would be level back and forth.
Right.
And
Free trade.
So our manufacturing can get a kickstart too, and we have something more to sell out to the world also, and to ourselves.
Right.
Because we will be our biggest customers.
Yep.
We will buy our own products. American-made products to this day still sell very well. Just ask Mike Lindell from My Pillow.
Yep. American-made products are some of the best products.
And they're not even that expensive, man.
No,
those pillows are reasonably cost. Yeah. So if we can make reasonable pillows, I'm sure we can make reasonable sneakers too.
Yep.
China will have to retaliate with tit-for-tat tariffs on U.S. imports in a lose-lose escalation of what has been a relatively manageable low-intensity trade war so far. Does Trump, the pathological transaction man, the deal maker, the profit taker, really want to lose so much money when he could be doing business and winning? Does he really want Americans to pay more for this MAGA hat? It's made in China, of course, just like almost everything else these days.
Yeah, but what this guy's not telling you, hold on one second. What this guy's not telling you is, let me show you guys my hat. This is an official Make America Great Again hat. That is a bootleg Make America Great Again hat. Do you guys want to see what this tag says? What does that tag say right there, chat? Everybody down in the comments below, let me know exactly what that tag says, because I know what it says. This dude is a liar. What he's not telling you is China might send us a lot of products. We might be the #1 consumers for China, but they are not of quality. None of the products are of quality. Do you know how many phone chargers I bought from China that have broken in a matter of weeks? This guy...
If you're lucky, you get weeks out of them.
Right. These are the things that this guy is not telling us about when it comes to the tariffs and when it comes to Chinese products. Chinese products are not that great. And in all honesty, he's also lying about China. It's actually a lot worse than what this guy is saying in China. And right here we have a video. This is something that the liberal media will not show you. They will not let you know that China is actually losing in this tariff trade war. They are not winning in it. They are losing. We are still good in it. We're still good. We got manufacturers coming back to the United States, so we're still good.
That's right.
These people are panicking, and there are so many factories over there that are now selling all their equipment because they're going to end up moving to the United States.
Absolutely, and that's what it is, dude. This is that video that we just watched was a sheer proof of their desperation. Dude, they're sweating it. Because if they weren't sweating it, they wouldn't care.
No.
Let's be honest.
Not at all.
You beat me to the punch on the hat. I was going to tell you, show them the hat, Bird. But you were already ahead of me. You were already ahead of me. That was all I was going to say on that part, so it don't even matter now because you did it. But all in reality, though, China's sweating it, bro.
Yep. And right here, listen, this video is a little more intrusive. Like they really look into it. And this is something, like I said, the liberal media has not shown us at all. So let's start this. And this is somebody over in China that's I want to say another YouTuber. I'll go look at his page in a minute, and I'll try to link it down below and let you guys know what it is. No, the China Observer, that's what it is. So these people actually visit warehouses.
Last month, I took an order for a batch of copper parts. I've already bought all the materials. It cost tens of thousands, and everything has been cut, ground, washed, and engraved. It's not finished yet, but today the customer messaged me and said the delivery might be delayed. After customs clearance, the taxes have gone up too much. A TikToker who works as a bulk trade supplier shared in his video the huge pressure he's under after the sudden increase in U.S. tariffs.
订单量5000多万美金，今年我们订单已经排到了26年的5月份。
Our orders are worth over 50 million US dollars. This year, we're already booked through May 2026. But with this 30% tariff hike, the impact on us is huge. If you're a small startup, it's not such a big deal because you don't ship enough to fill an entire container. But for us, it hits hard. Our profit margins in bulk trading are already razor thin. Now with a 34% tariff, it's like getting knocked to the ground.
He said the only thing he can do for now is wait. His backup plan is to ship through third-party warehouses in other countries. That's the only way forward.
So, you know, what these people don't realize is it's their government's fault. They're the ones who've been trying to bully around and get over on every other country. And now people are getting sick of it, especially people like Trump, and they're not going to stand up for it no more. And this is going to cause a domino effect around the world, where the rest of the world, whoever else that they're getting over on high tariffs for, is not going to take it anymore. I'm telling you, all this is going to do. This is going to be great for the world.
don't be surprised if this breaks down their BRICS little thing they got going on too.
Right.
Because China was getting a little bit of an upper hand with that, but South America is coming back to the Western Hemisphere, whether they like it or not. And El Salvador is proof of that, and Venezuela too. You know what I mean? These countries are coming back to, like, you know what? Maybe we should do business with America instead.
Right.
You know?
Which, in all honesty, I'm not worried about these other countries. I'm just worried about us for the most, for all of it. But I'm just saying that this goes to show that these people they don't want to understand that it's not America's fault. This is China's fault for what's going on in their country.
This is definitely their doing. I mean, they have been taking advantage of pretty much the entire market for at least the last 20 years. And you're right. I think people are just
sick of it.
I mean, hey, it's great to have cheap products, but when you've got, when
the cheap products are also
cheap
products are nothing but cheap quality anymore.
Yeah, it's not like we're missing anything. See, yeah, we love the cheap products, but at the same time, if we got to pay a little more for better quality, it ends up being the same in the long run anyway.
Right.
You could spend $30 on three $10 shirts that last you a year, or you can get one American-made shirt that lasts you 3 years.
Right.
You win in the end.
Exactly.
And I'd rather pay $30 for the one American shirt than $10 for the three Chinese. Any day.
For sure.
April 7th, the owner of a clothing factory posted a video saying the entire foreign trade apparel industry in China is filled with anxiety.
Everyone doing foreign trade now is nervous. A 50% tariff is just scary. Who's going to place orders under these conditions? Sure, some clothing businesses are still busy, but it's hard to make money anymore. US orders only make up part of our business, but there are so many clothing factories in China. If we all turn to Europe and there's no US orders, then think about it. Won't competition at home become even worse? Domestic sales are also weak this year. People just don't have money to spend, so how can this market possibly improve?
On April 2nd, U.S.
It sounds like your guys'
they're
problem.
desperate, Bird.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're desperate, Bird. They're desperate. This is that. Yeah, they're not bullying anybody.
No, this is working out for us.
And we're going to have a bunch of Americans who are working again in jobs that, I mean, quite frankly, there's a lot of people who still love working in the manufacturers, dude.
Yeah.
And there's money to be made in manufacturing too. They think that that everybody just works in front of a tool and die machine. It doesn't work that way.
Nope.
There's a lot of very highly skilled jobs in manufacturing that pay very well. Where do you think engineers go? I'll tell you where they go. They've been going to China. That's where they've been going.
Yep.
But now they're going to stay here in the United States.
Yep, for sure.
Donald Trump announced a new round of global-based tariffs, raising rates on dozens of countries. At the time of the announcement, the actual tariff rate for China stood at 34%.
在现行适用关税税率基础上加征34%关税。
In response, the Chinese Communist Party announced on April 4th that it would impose a matching 34% tariff on all goods imported from the U.S. Trump then warned that he may raise tariffs on China by another 50%. The CCP responded by saying it's ready to fight to the end. While the Chinese government is showing a tough stance, many businesses in China are already feeling the pain. On April 7th, a TikToker filmed a clothing factory that had shut down and said the clothing industry is in serious trouble. All the machines in his factory are about to stop. He said this year is going to be incredibly tough. That same day, another TikToker posted a similar scene, workers moving goods around inside a clothing factory. He wrote that as soon as the U.S. swung its tariff hammer, the impact finally hit the apparel industry. His factory originally had orders scheduled through the end of July, but now over 6,000 down jackets have been put on hold, and the ready-to-ship products are piling up in the warehouse. He said both offline and online sales are struggling this year. Even live stream selling isn't working anymore. With sluggish consumer demand and weak domestic sales, the foreign trade slowdown is pushing more exporters into the domestic market, creating even more excess production. He said this year's apparel industry is like a pressure cooker that could blow at any moment. This isn't just panic, it's worse than during the pandemic. Many clothing business owners may lose everything they've built over a lifetime.
People seeing anybody seeing potential war with China.
Another TikToker showed the current situation at his factory. Because of the tariff hike, orders have been delayed or canceled. Now his packaging and printing factory doesn't even have boxes to make. All he can do now is clean the factory.
So this doesn't seem like something that's like affecting us in a bad way. It seems like it's affecting them in a terrible way.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is affecting them more. But you know what? It did affect us like 25, 30 years ago when they were stealing all our manufacturing and using all our raw materials to sell them back to us at 34% tariffs. They've been tariffing us all along. That's the thing that people don't seem to realize. And it seems like the liberal media seems to miss that. But we've been paying that tariff all along.
Exactly.
So now they're paying the tariff. Not only did we pay the tariff all along, we also put families out of work. We put people out of their homes because they couldn't make the payments on their homes. We had 2 mortgage crises in 20 years because of people not being able to pay for it. And these were people who prior to that had jobs that they thought they were going to have for the rest of their lives.
Yep.
So I don't feel sorry for any of the Chinese companies. Hey, if you're losing your business in China, then you know what? Move to America.
Yep.
Move to America.
A TikToker showed a video saying that after the U.S. increased tariffs, the impact on China's foreign trade is obvious. He mentioned that when he flies, there are hardly any Westerners on the plane, mostly people from Africa. Also, when entering the U.S., Chinese people face especially strict security checks.
I'm at Guangzhou Baiyun Airport right now, and the flight is about to take off. This tariff increase is really affecting China. If you look around, you can see there are almost no white faces here, mostly African brothers. This shows how tough the foreign trade situation is right now. When I went through customs, they saw my yellow skin and Chinese passport and gave me a hard time. They asked about every little detail: why I'm here, who I'm visiting, where I'm staying, how long I'll be, and what business I'm doing. Traveling abroad is...
They do the same thing when you go to China, by the way.
Yeah, for sure.
They do all that same questioning.
Any country.
So all of us, I was about to say, dude, go to Canada. Dude, you can't get across the border without them, wanting to know who your next of kin is and how many children and who your grandparents are. Come on.
How long you're staying, what's your business here. That's literally every country you go to.
In the world, that's standard customs. This guy... whatever.
He's liberal.
All Chinese are liberal.
Yeah.
It's already hard, and now people like me in foreign trade have to face Trump's 50...
What's the difference?
Well, communism's not really liberal. I mean, you don't really have a whole lot of civil liberties to be a liberal.
Well, I mean, the liberals nowadays are communists.
Our liberals here in America, our socialist liberals, don't know what freedom is. They've been indoctrinated, so they don't know. They don't understand it. You know what I mean? They don't understand their freedoms until they're really being taken away from them. And when they need them, then all of a sudden they become jailhouse lawyers. But other than that, I mean, we don't teach it.
Yep.
So, but yeah.
I get it.
4% tariff hike and random checks.
On April 6, a female owner of a laser cutting factory, Liu Ting, posted a video saying that manufacturing in China is going to get even harder, and she plans to sell off her 30,000 watt equipment.
是的，你们没有听错，我可能要把去年4月份买的大图的激光要准备出掉了。
Yes, you heard me right. I might have to sell the laser equipment I bought last April. I don't need to explain. You could probably guess why. The economic environment is bad, and the trade war has already started. Soon, all manufacturing businesses, especially small ones, will face bankruptcy. This is not an exaggeration. It's the reality. She also said that starting this month, all manufacturing businesses in China will face an unprecedented winter. More and more companies will go bankrupt, lay off workers, and downsize. Many manufacturing owners will end up with insufficient funds and will not survive. Cases in banks, law firms, and courts will pile up. The TikToker estimates that all manufacturing business owners are currently in an anxious, confused, and helpless state. Particularly for factories that relied on foreign trade orders, the shrinking foreign demand and declining domestic demand are making it difficult. Many small business owners can't sleep because of worries and fear. They're afraid all the years of hard work will go to waste. They fear they won't be able to pay employee wages or cover rent and utilities. The TikToker revealed that with electricity costs for her equipment already reaching her limit, she has decided to sell her 30,000-watt laser equipment. On April 8th, a TikToker from Zhejiang shared a video saying that she suddenly realized the U.S. tariff increase has also severely impacted non-exporting manufacturers.
浙江这边的厂 这个关税加上去之后
How big of an impact has the tariff increase had on local factories in Zhejiang? I run a small factory and don't deal with foreign trade, so I'm not sure how much it would affect me. But I've noticed that my upstream suppliers who export raw materials haven't received any orders for a long time. Not even one container has shipped out. When they can't get orders, they try to switch to domestic sales. Now people at their factories are still working non-stop, running around to try to make domestic sales. So when they get involved in the domestic market, doesn't that just drag the domestic factories into it too? Everyone's getting caught in the spiral, and in the end, we'll all collapse together. The impact is really huge, and some people probably haven't realized it yet. Whether it's the impact on their foreign trade or on our factories that don't deal with foreign trade, it's all very significant.
Bingo! There you go.
Looks like they're getting it.
They're starting to understand that this thing's a little bit more serious than how they want to joke about it and say, oh, all this stuff made in America, it doesn't, all this stuff is going to America. Well, guess what? You guys are the ones that are losing because we're just going to have people build the plants over here and build the factories over here, and now you guys aren't going to get anything out of it.
That's right. Did you see that propaganda video that China put out last week with the AI? It was like a bunch of obese Americans working at a sweatshop.
It was hilarious.
Well, they're going to be jealous of those fat asses here real soon.
Very soon.
Those AI fat asses right now have a job, and it looks to me like the Chinese are running out of that.
You know what it is? They're all just mad that because when we work a job like that they work over there, we get to enjoy our money and go spend it on food and stuff like that, while they get to just eat nothing but rice and fish heads.
Well, I don't know if it's quite that bad over there. But
they love their sushi.
I'll tell you what, 30 years ago, they were driving bicycles, and now they're driving Lexuses.
Yeah.
But 30 years ago, we were driving Lexuses, and now we're driving bicycles over here. So, you know what? I want to go back to the Lexus. I'm ready for the Lexus.
Yep.
They can keep their bicycles. Let them go back to driving bicycles to work. They'll save a lot in gas and electricity, and that'll make up the cost that they're losing on our tariff.
Exactly.
It all evens out on the wash
at the end.
7th, a TikToker from Foshan visited a newly built factory district and recorded footage of the vacant and neglected factory buildings.
He said, "Look at these factories that were just built last year. Now I can't even find a single person. There are no cars or people on the road. Some of these factories are single-story and others have multiple floors. The landlords spent nearly 1 billion yuan to build these. Just a few years ago, these beautiful buildings were all leased out by middlemen. You had to wait in line to rent a factory space, but now there isn't a single customer coming to view the space.
Wow.
The new factory buildings behind me haven't even been renovated yet because the landlords are afraid of spending money if no one rents them. With the manufacturing industry in decline, every industry is struggling."
He recalled that some Chinese companies moved.
Not one bit. Look at how many empty factories we got over here. You can go all around Cleveland. There's all kinds of empty factories. Go down on the east side. You see how many abandoned warehouses there are.
You remember when the Ford plant used to have? People used to go to the Ford plant an hour early so they could make sure to get a parking spot, so they wouldn't have to walk from the Brook Park Rapid Station from parking their car there and then have to walk back.
Yeah,
because that was the only other parking.
Yep.
Now you drive by the Ford plant, there's 5 cars.
Yep,
that's
5,
it.
maybe 7.
So if they're looking for sympathy, they're looking up the wrong tree.
Yeah, they're not getting it this way.
Because the only thing pointing back at them is not sympathy. I guarantee you that.
Yep.
to Southeast Asia to avoid the US-China trade war a few years ago. Now, this new wave of tariffs is a heavy blow to those companies because some countries have even higher tariffs than China. He questioned where these companies should go next, stay in Southeast Asia, move back to China, or shift to Africa. On April 7th, Ms. Gong, a manager of a Bluetooth headphone export company in Guangzhou, told Radio Free Asia that most companies in Guangdong that used to trade with the US have stopped accepting orders due to tariff barriers. She said, "I had dinner with people from the industry yesterday, and they told me that they used to export products from Vietnam to the US. Now most of those orders have stopped. They're not taking new orders. They're just waiting to see how serious the situation will get. Right now, we know that foreign trade companies in Guangzhou and Guangdong are temporarily not accepting orders." Ms. Gong also mentioned that a Hong Kong company near her recently moved its factory to Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam, and is currently hiring Vietnamese locals. However, the sudden...
Look what they're doing. Hey.
Yeah.
This is
Vietnam.
the FAFO.
Yeah, Vietnam was like, hey, we'll come to the table and talk to you. Yep. They were paying 49% tariffs. We were going to charge them 49% because they were charging us. They were like, okay, cool. It's cool. Let's come to the table. So Vietnam right now, I'm just telling you that, hey, China, get rid of that tariff, we'll get rid of ours. It's as simple as that. Yep. It's as simple as that. This ain't rocket science.
Exactly.
It's not.
So, okay.
Do unto others as you want done unto you.
We spoke enough about that. Let's get into our last subject. But before that, let's have a word from one of our sponsors. Let's talk about the NRS. The NRS is the #1 retail solution that your small business needs. The NRS customized point of sale system will help speed up checkout, simplify inventory management, and they even offer a secure NRS payment with credit card processing. For more information, please contact William R. Anderson Jr., the authorized NRS distributor, or go to their website, www.wrajrplus.com. Again, that address is www.wrajrplus.com, or just give them a call at 216-260-4906. Again, that number is 216-260-4906, and please make sure to let them know that the Conservative Bird and Double D sent you. Welcome back. Thank you guys so much for staying here. So the next thing we're going to get into is this whole Kilmar Abreu Garcia thing. The way that the left and the liberal media has spun this would make you think this guy was the most angelic, humble, God-fearing person ever. But then when you start looking a little bit more into it and you start realizing things for what they really are, you see it's actually the complete opposite. So the other day we had the president of El Salvador come meet with Trump and said that he is not returning Kilmar back to the United States on the simple fact that it is not right to return a terrorist back to another country. So
that's right.
Why is the liberal media acting like this guy is the greatest person in the world? I mean, sometimes you have to...
Because it was Donald Trump that sent him back. That's why.
Exactly. And right here, like, this is a media outlet that I found that seemed to be the least biased ever and just literally breaks it down exactly how it is for you guys. So let's see what they have to say.
Let the clip roll.
Kilmar Abreu Garcia had lived in the U.S. for about 14 years, according to court records. He entered the country illegally around 2011.
That's the first thing, illegally.
In 2019, police arrested and questioned him in Maryland about being a gang member. After saying he wasn't, he was released into the custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. But ICE found he was a certified gang member.
That's number 2. In 2019, they found out that he was actually an MS-13 gang member. That's number 2.
Based on information from a confidential informant that said he belonged to an MS-13 chapter in New York. That same year, an immigration judge denied Abreu Garcia his asylum request, but granted him a withholding of removal status, preventing his deportation to his native El Salvador. The judge cited threats he and his family...
That's number 3. Number 3 right there is they did not give him a right to live here. They just gave him, we're going to, wait a minute, we're going to actually get into this and figure out what's going on. That's what this was in 2019.
It was a temporary, it was basically a legal status to be in the country, which is very temporary. From my understanding, you have to check in every 6 months to a year.
Okay.
It has to be reevaluated regularly. Now, did that happen in this case? I highly doubt it.
Highly doubt it.
I mean?
Because there was so many illegals from now till then that it's hard to keep track of every single one of them, dude.
Yeah, and honestly, we were 4 years under the Biden administration.
Right.
Who wasn't really,
and he came in during Obama.
Yeah, they weren't upholding their constitutional commitments. So
okay, so we out of the three things that they've explained, we've seen three wrong things of why it happened.
Family received from local gang Barrio 18, but White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller says that's no longer relevant.
Here's the thing. If you are a member of a foreign terrorist organization, you cannot have a withholding order.
Right.
In MS-13, there is no withholding order.
You just answered my
question.
The
gang that he is accused of being persecuted by doesn't exist anymore in El Salvador. The 18th Street gang is gone.
In February, the Trump administration designated gangs like MS-13 as foreign terrorist organizations.
Yes.
Then,
rightfully so. Rightfully so.
And that made Abreu Garcia
a terrorist.
Go back.
See you later, bud.
Once he was honestly, he should have never been in this country in the first place.
I don't care if your family's here.
That's the bottom line.
I don't care if your family's here. I don't care if you have 1 kid, 20 kids here. Take him and go back with you. Take him back with you if that's that important.
Yeah, I mean, he was never here legally until for 8 years, he was in this country illegally.
Exactly.
That's the bottom line that they're telling us.
Yep.
12th, Abreu Garcia was stopped by ICE agents who incorrectly told him his status had changed. He was deported to El Salvador just days later.
Don't wait in line.
Oh, sorry, bud. See you later.
Yep. I mean, that's nothing changed. The only thing that changed is our immigration is getting to do their jobs now. That's all. The only thing that changes is that ICE can do their jobs. That's it.
Right.
So under Joe Biden, they didn't have any ICE. They were suspended, basically. But now they're just doing their jobs.
Let me ask you guys this. If this guy's such a great person, if this guy's this whole humble angelic, then why did the president of El Salvador say that they are not going to deport him? Why? He met with Trump and talked about it a little bit here. So let's see what he has to say about it.
Do you plan to ask President Bukele to help return the man who your administration says was mistakenly deported? The man who was mistakenly deported to El Salvador?
Well, let me ask Pam, would you answer that question?
Sure, President. First and foremost, he was illegally in our country. He had been illegally in our country. And in 2019, 2 courts, an immigration court and an appellate immigration court, ruled that he was a member of MS-13 and he was illegally in our country. Right now, it was additional paperwork had needed to be done. That's up to El Salvador if they want to return him. That's not up to us.
Can President Bukele weigh in on this? Do you plan to return him?
The question is preposterous. How can I smuggle a terrorist to the United States? I don't have the power to return him to the United States.
So you could release him inside El Salvador?
Yeah, but I'm not releasing, we're not very fond of releasing terrorists into our country. I mean, we just turned the murder capital of the world into the safest country of the Western Hemisphere, and you want us to go back into the releasing criminals so we can go back to being the murder capital of the world? No, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, Stephen, I
like this guy.
I like him too. This guy seems like very highly intelligent
him.
Built in common sense.
Hell yeah, he does. He's got nothing but common sense. That's right.
This is the president of El Salvador?
Yes, he is the president. I like him. This
like
this is the first time I've seen this. I don't really watch these videos until we review them. So
I just seen that they talked. I didn't actually watch it. This is my first time watching it too. I like everything he had to say right here.
And I agree with everything he says.
1,000%.
I don't understand what the confusion is. This individual is a citizen of El Salvador. He was illegally in the United States and was returned to his country. That's where you deport people, back to their country of origin.
This is just common sense, and unfortunately, common sense isn't so common anymore. Which goes to show right here.
Wikipedia.
No, which goes to show right here with Caroline Leavitt having to school the liberal media on this guy actually being a terrorist, because when you come into a country and you commit acts of terror in a country that you don't live in and you're not originally from, that makes you a terrorist.
That's right. Foreign terrorist is that you don't have to commit the crime, and even though he committed 3 crimes as soon as he came to the United States, obviously,
right?
Even though they're paperwork crimes, but they're still crimes.
A crime is a crime.
But like I said, my understanding from that ICE agent is he has MS-13 tattoos on his back.
I wouldn't doubt it.
And as far as I'm concerned, if you're marked,
you're it.
You're marked for life.
You're it.
And if you are marked by a gang like MS-13 or Barrio 18, which I understand they don't exist no more because our police in America got rid of them. But the point being is he has a tattoo on his back that's clear as day. If you have an Aryan Brotherhood tattoo on your arm or on your back, they know you're part of an Aryan Brotherhood in the prison system, and they treat you as such.
Exactly.
So this guy has this tattoo. He was treated because of what he wears on his body.
Exactly.
He marked him. I didn't do it. You didn't
marked
put
himself.
The tattoo on him.
He did it to himself.
Donald Trump didn't put the tattoo on him.
Nope.
You know,
he did it to himself.
He accepted that, and he committed himself to MS-13 when he put that on him.
And when he did what he had to do to get into that gang, he committed himself.
And then he broke the law, sneaking over our border.
Yep.
Yesterday in the Oval Office, administration officials made it very clear that El Salvador is responsible for Mr. Abrego Garcia, yet El Salvador's president said we're not going to do anything with him. So my question is, who is responsible for this man and where he's going to?
See how the liberal media tries to spin what people say and take it out of context? That is nothing what he said. What he literally said is, I have no control, no
power.
He said, no, I have no right to send a terrorist back to a United States.
Right. He did exactly what he's supposed to do. Keep that terrorist in jail. Is it just me? But do liberal journalists all look like they're on some kind of mission from Satan?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they look like they literally have no souls.
None. No soul
I
at
mean,
all.
look at her eyes. Look at her eyes. Do you see a soul in that woman? Because I don't.
No, I just see nothing but evil and bitterness.
Dude, yeah. I mean, she just looks like she just hated being born. She probably hates her parents for having her.
I wouldn't doubt it.
First of all, President Bukele
I would
said
not
that
doubt
he is
it.
not going to smuggle a foreign terrorist back into the
That's
United
right.
States of America, as many in this room in the Democrat Party seemingly want him to do. Abrego Garcia was a foreign terrorist. He is an MS-13 gang member. He was engaged in human trafficking. He illegally came into our country. And so deporting him back to El Salvador was always going to be the end result. There is never going to be a world in which this is an individual who's going to live a peaceful life in Maryland, because he is a foreign terrorist.
Yes, because he is a foreign terrorist, he does not deserve to live in the luxuries of our country. He does not deserve to get the luxuries of our country. I don't care if he has a family. I don't care about any of that. Guess what? Take them with you if it's that big of a deal.
That's right. When he gets out of prison, he can move his family to El Salvador, because as we heard the president say, it went from the murder capital to the safest country in the Western Hemisphere. So there's no reason why she shouldn't want to be there with her family.
Exactly.
You want your baby to be raised with his father, move to El Salvador.
Exactly.
Because he is not coming back here. Now that we know he's a terrorist for sure, he is not coming back to America.
1,000 stay gone.
And good luck finding a bunch of Americans who are on his side, other than a bunch of squirrely-looking liberal media demagogue evil Satanists.
Yes, for sure.
Gang member. Not only have we confirmed that,
Evil
President Bukele
Satanists.
yesterday in the Oval Office confirmed that as well. So he went back to his home country, where he will face consequences for his gang affiliation and his engagement in human trafficking. I'm not sure what is so difficult about this for everyone in the media to understand.
I love her.
And it's appalling, truly appalling, that there has been so much time covering this alleged human trafficker and this gang member, MS-13 gang member. It's truly striking to me.
It's because these people hate America so much. They hate Donald Trump so much that anything that he does that is a good thing, they will turn it into. They have to believe in the bad thing, regardless if they know it's bad or not. These people don't care. They hate this country. They hate everything we stand for. They hate people that want to stick up for this country over other countries, and they want to stick up for these other countries. For example, I've seen people say, yay, Canada, yay, Canada. Like, no, you're an American. You should want America to win.
Well, that one's going to resolve itself anyway. I've been saying that all along, Bird. Once, what's his name, Polivier, once he wins the election, I guarantee you him and Donald Trump are going to sit down. They're going to come up with a good free trade that's fair to both of us. Look, Canada wants free trade. All they got to do is give us free trade. It's not hard. You know, I don't understand what's so hard for them to understand.
I don't know what's so hard for everybody to understand. Free trade with the world.
I mean, what is it? What are they so used to taking advantage of us that they think they can come to our country illegally? They think they can charge us into oblivion for the products that we supply them the raw materials for. I mean, enough's enough. America's not taking shit from any of y'all anymore.
We're done with it.
Simple as that.
We're done with it. We are done with it. We are very done with it.
Very done with it. We've been done with it. And we will pay a little bit more if we have to, because we know the quality will be better anyway. They're not fooling anybody.
Nope.
They're just not fooling anybody.
Not one bit. And
you know what it comes down to is all this liberal media, the mainstream media, and all these politicians, they're going to lose their paychecks from these different countries.
And I think that we're going to, that China's going to see they're going to see within the next 2 to 4 months how bad this is going to hurt them.
It's going to hurt them more than it's going to hurt us.
Oh, a lot more than it hurts us.
What they're about to go through, we here in the Midwest, we went through that for 2 decades.
Yes.
For 2 decades.
You can go on so many parts of Cleveland.
My father worked for Standard Automotive for years, and then in 1989, they went out of business. They went out of business because they couldn't compete with the cheap products coming over from China, from Thailand, from New Zealand, from Indonesia, from Vietnam. I mean, I could go all day long. And all these countries have been charging us and using our raw materials to make it. So I don't feel sorry for a single one of them.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Uncle Sam just gave the rest of the world the big FU when it comes to the trade war. And we're going to win it because we hold the resources. They don't. And it's as simple as that.
Last words. America wins. The rest of the country is going to understand one way or another that we're going to be out on top on this one. And that's just the way it is. We're the number one consumers. We're the number one big dogs in the world. And we rule shit. And that's just that.
And on that, I would say my last words would be America first.
Yeah, America first and America only.
First, man. It's as simple as that. I'm going to keep it simple. I'm going to use the KISS theory. Keep it simple, stupid. It's America first.
America first.
And if they want to bully us, well, we don't need their Chinese products.
No,
we'll just make them here in America. And with all that, I'd like to thank you, Bird, I'd like to thank you, Bird. I'd like to thank our audience. And, as always, my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ.
Yep. I'd like to thank my Lord. I'd like to thank my family, my friends, Double D. Thank you guys for stopping and hanging out with us. We will see you guys on the next one. Have a wonderful day or a wonderful evening, depending on when you're watching this. Peace.
Good night, y'all.